Steve James, serial entrepreneur, the Lennox Indie, which is on 5802 Michigan Road. That's our new clothing store. I'm also in the Airbnb space. I have Airbnbs in California. I also do the luxury car rentals and music. Still an artist, still writing, and a printing company. So I do silk screen embroidery. I've partnered actually with Tone, and we're making some stuff happen. So COVID, 2020 is when I started my clothing brand, St. James Collection. I was still recording music. We ended up getting pregnant. So around COVID time, it kind of got real dicey because we were in LA. So we were on lockdown for 15 months. So I didn't have no choice but to record and just really hone in on creating a clothing brand. So that's kind of how the pivot happened as far as switching to start my clothing brand. I think what it was for me is I like designer clothing, but when I got into the clothing space, I was seeing like, oh, y'all are overpriced, like major. And it got to the point where I'm like, I can do this, you know what I mean? So just being in LA, I got exposed to, manufacturers, really seeing how to source fabric, feeling fabric to see like, okay, what's Balenciaga using? What's Gucci using? Like kind of really get into those spaces to see what these higher brands are doing and seeing how I can mimic that, but at a fraction of the price. I wanted to still keep it streetwear because I still love streetwear. You know what I mean? You can do your joggers and your hoodie top and bottom. So, I wanted it to stay there, but now like just having the brand for a while and having older customers, I wanted to kind of to cater to everybody from, 20 all the way up to older men. So I got 50, 60-year-olds that's buying, the polo shirts because they like that minimalistic type of, branding when it comes to, the clothes. So, you can do it, dress it up, or you can dress down, you know what I mean? So that's the beauty of being an owner of a brand. You can kind of piece it together how you want. It's a gift and a curse. A lot of people, they say, stick to one thing and water that, which I agree with that. But I think in today's age, like you have the technology and automation and how you can literally create a business and, really utilizing AI and figuring out a system and automation. That's the way I'm able to have multiple businesses. You know what I mean? My Airbnbs, I don't see my Airbnbs. They're automated. I don't see my cars. They're automated. So when someone books, there's an automated message that goes through. Hey, send me your information. I'll send you the code for you to be able to get into the Airbnb, to get into the car. So you eliminate that having to, I have 15 vehicles. So before I was meeting all the guests, just to get into the habit of it. But, when your time is the most valuable thing. So once you realize that and figure out how to, really automate things and put systems in place, it just makes your life easier. A lot of people say that. They're like, man, it's, clothing. I just look at just branding and marketing as a whole different tool. Like when you go into a grocery store and you go down the bread aisle, there's 20 different bread aisle brands. You know what I mean? So how are they able to do that? That's how I look at it with clothing. My people that support me or that like my clothing or whatever, these are people that, are buying into whatever it is that I'm doing. So the fact that, people say, clothing is crowded, I agree with that. But at the same time, people buy clothes every day. How can I get you as the consumer to buy into what I'm doing? So when people start to realize that and take away of the competition of I'm in my own lane. I don't look like I love what other brands are doing. I support them. I buy their brands. You know what I mean? So for me, it's a matter of just to continue to stay ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? Continue to just create dope stuff. Like if you create dope stuff, people are gonna buy it, no matter what. You know what I mean? So I don't look at the competition or if somebody else is starting a clothing brand. Like we're in our own lane, and this is just where we're at. You know what I mean? So you either rock with it or you don't. Yeah. So man, that's crazy. So Sophie Cunningham, she plays for the Fever. Brittany Sykes, she plays for the Washington WNBA. She actually wore one of the jackets during the WNBA All-Star, the game. Lance Stevenson, Courtney Lee, some others too I'm probably leaving out. But, you know, I think that is, you know, the brand recognition. When you have someone at a certain, you know, caliber of individuals who see what you're doing and you know like what level they're at, it's like, all right, I'm doing something right because you actually like my stuff. I'm not in, you're buying it, you know, because I kind of, the whole like, let me just give you this. Celebrities and professional athletes, they get clothes every day, you know. So for me, that's not, I don't like that bargain. It's like, if you like this, hey, please support it. You know what I mean? Because then that means that you put yourself in a situation where you're not just giving away hoping that someone buys it. You know what I mean? So if you buy it and you purchase it, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get you wearing it. So I just think that that's a better exchange than just freely, you know, going out and just giving out free clothes in certain situations. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that, because certain situations, you know, if you got to get the brand across and that's what it takes for you to give somebody a piece, then by any means, like, make it happen, you know? The John Legend thing, that was super dope. Just took a trip to Italy for my homie's 40th birthday, Courtney Lee. So we surprised him out there. It was a super dope experience. But we went to a restaurant and they had this phenomenal girl. She was up there singing. I didn't know. I thought it was like actual music from the house speakers. That's how fire she was. So I went up and I'm videotaping her. I'm like, afterwards I introduced myself because she had like a long set. So she was just doing all covers. And, you know, I introduced myself and, you know, I told her I was into music as well. And she was like, well, do you sing? Like, so we started talking about that. And then I was like, well, what songs? Because she had somebody that was playing. And she had a Rolodex of songs that she had. And I'm like, okay, I don't know none of these. So like, so she pulled up like John Legend and All of Me came up. And I'm like, I know All of Me. So, you know, let's run it. I didn't know all the words, but I pretty much knew, you know, the gist of the song. So that's how that happened. You know what I mean? It came out dope. The people that was in the restaurant, they loved it. You know, they seeing a black face that's in there like, oh shoot, he's in here singing. So that was just a dope experience. I'm glad that, you know, we was able to capture that. Man, I think that he would be proud, you know, because back then it was such a grind. You know, we didn't have streaming and everything. We were still hustling CDs, you know, so that era of, you know, where we actually come from that's just a special place for me, because I know that type of grind. And I just know that now is just it's an easier process to be able to get music out to the masses because of streaming and social media and all of that. So definitely, I know he's proud. I know he's like, man, you done been putting in the work for, you know, when I left in 2000, so you talking about 2008, you know, you talking almost 2 decades of doing music, you know. So just to see the grind, just to see the type of connections that I've made just being in LA, the type of records that I've, you know, written for some artists. You know, I got 2 Billboard records, you know what I mean? Like R&B records that I was able to do with an R&B singer named Jay Brown. So just dope just to see. You know, I've worked with Ro James. I've been in the studio with a lot of people. And it's just a beautiful thing to see how music has evolved, especially R&B. You know what I mean? It's a lot of dope R&B artists. And I'm just happy to be a part of, you know, part of that R&B grind. Man, I would definitely say don't stretch yourself too thin. A lot of times, you know, we can start a lot of things and then we don't finish it. it's like we're good, because I've been in this situation. I'm a great starter, but it's like finishing is that's when you're really amongst the, like, you know what I mean? It's like you got to finish it. So I would tell people to focus in on whatever the passion is. And once you tap into that, figure out a way to automate. I'm big on automation. I'm big on systems. I'm big on what AI is doing now. Like AI can literally plan it's the future. You know what I mean? So any entrepreneur, I would say, start learning AI, and start learning how to automate things. So, you can have time to, and you're not always just putting your time into whatever the thing is that you're doing. Learn the systems, learn how to be able to automate so you can start whatever it is that you want to start next.